the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button and share this video podcast with your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's free. Don't make this video podcast go viral by posting this link on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and or on your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in 3 forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. I created the Grassroots Community Activist Movement on November 10th, 1991 on a site called Gopher in order to connect with other like-minded Black people, African immigrants, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Caribbeans to discuss social issues in America and throughout the diaspora, as well as on the African continent. The movement's objective is to build a new Black movement / African movement by building our own cooperative enterprises within the African American community. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our interactive Black media component. We discuss controversial topics that you won't hear about from the mainstream media using an Afrocentric perspective. We are committed to reporting truthful and accurate news. We believe that now is the time for a comprehensive new strategy and a new movement for Black people / African people. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. I give Black authors and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from around the globe. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcasts and YouTube channels to help them earn extra revenue. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships, grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. After 15 years of being overlooked and rejected, I decided to write and publish my story, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, 2nd edition. It's available on Amazon. I talked it over with my publisher, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. They're affiliated with Amazon about lowering the price to make it affordable for everyone. Now, my book is available in 2 forms. An ebook that is $6.25 and the paperback for $6.25 plus shipping and handling. Ladies and gentlemen, I also created my virtual store in hopes of generating enough capital to jumpstart my Christian business, Berkaya Chicago, which stands for the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. It takes capital to start a business, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit. Unfortunately, my revised book is barely selling, and items on my virtual store is barely selling. I have been paying out of pocket for the business title since 2010. As I explained to my listeners, it's not my burden alone. It takes a team to make a dream work. Black America has rejected my vision and plan for 31 years. This is why I'm reaching out to the Black grassroots and the global African family. My film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group before I cut and run to Africa. At this time, all I can do is news commentary, because I refuse to just sit back and twiddle my thumbs. We host our virtual conference every last Saturday of the month until we are able to raise the capital to fund our film project. Our film project is entitled Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins. This is a solution-based docudrama which is based on my experience growing up in the inner cities of Chicago. It's also based on my revised book. And the purpose why I created Recam. This is our Black Panther moment, except it's not owned by Disney. It's owned by us. And when I say us, that is the grassroots community activist movement members. We want to get this film in front of 500 million people worldwide. We will offer a 21st century solution for both domestically within the United States of America and throughout the diaspora. Recam is my gift to Black millennials, Generation Z, and my group members. It's my hope that we can eventually create our own Black film industry, Black hair product industry, and sporting industry. I created a GoFundMe page last April 2022 as a crowdfunding source so that everyone on my Facebook friends list and everyone in my social groups would know exactly where the funds for our film project would end up. This is also to indicate our progress in getting this film fully funded and made. Out of 1,683 people that's on my Facebook friends list, only 5 people have donated to our film project on our GoFundMe page. Then you wonder why our community remains jacked up. All I have is my revised book, my virtual store, my online groups, and this platform. I recommend that if you are serious about working with me and Sister Renee and turning my vision and plan for Black America and Africa, then first purchase my revised book and read my story for yourself. If you agree with what I'm trying to do, then make arrangements with me to come on this podcast so that we can talk about it. Send me a message to my Facebook inbox. I'm using this technology to broadcast my vision and plan to those who will listen. It's my hope that the African immigrant community within the United States of America would come forth and work with me first in getting this film project fully funded and made so that we can build Grekai of Chicago together and make our presence known within the African American community starting in Chicago. And once that happens, then we will replicate Recam by going to visit 10 African nations. And in each African nation, we're going to set up a chapter. Grekai of Chicago's mission is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago through arts, culture, commerce, spiritual development, and hosting African tours. We plan on visiting 10 African nations. They are as follows: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. I want to bring the best of the diaspora to each African nation so that we can set up local chapters and do international trade among our people. We aim to reconnect Black entrepreneurs with African entrepreneurs, Black artists with African artists. In this Christian business, our objective is to heal from enslavement and colonization. Since Black America and Black Chicago has overlooked and rejected my vision and plan for the past 31 years, my Christian business will be membership-based. I am only responsible for my members. Those who are not part of us, we will pray for them, we will show them tough love, and we will keep it moving. Our hashtag, not another 31 years. Upcoming events. Thursday, June 29th at 6 o'clock p.m., guest speaker Pastor Lori Givens from California. Thursday, June 29th at 9 p.m. Central Time, guest speaker Pastor Dr. Tanya Williams from Mississippi. Please mark your calendar for our next GRCAM virtual conference, Saturday, July 29th. I am encouraging all of my Christian group members in Light of the World Inspirational Group and Christian Spoken Word Network to stand up and for at least 8 people to be on our panel. You must make arrangements with me to practice using StreamYard so that we can do a professional show. The theme: challenging Black churches in America to work with us to improve the African American community while strengthening the Black family for the next generation. Where? Facebook Live /StreamYard. Time 2 p.m. through 3 p.m. American Central Time. 3 p.m. Canadian Time. 8 p.m. West African Time. 9 p.m. South African Time. 10 p.m. East African Time. And 8 p.m. UK Time. Instructions on how to participate on the show. First, watch my video podcast. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. This is called Side B. You can interact with me in real time, either by voice call, by clicking on the phone icon, or by video call, by clicking on the camera icon. Today's topic of discussion is as follows. VP Harris created a council to combat anti-Semitism. More protection for LGBT community. Mayor Eric Adams and Mayor Brandon Johnson. Our first topic. VP Harris created a council to combat anti-Semitism. Today, we're going to discuss a tweet that I found on Twitter from Vice President Kamala Harris. It's my job to bring attention to the African American community about what these politicians are saying on social media. The Democrat Party always tell Black people that they cannot do something for one group of people. It has to be for everyone. Now they're being exposed by the new Black Voices of Media, which I am a part of. Kamala Harris announced the creation of a council to combat anti-Semitism. The Biden administration has proven they can do something specific for groups, except Black Americans. I came across a tweet from Vice President Kamala Harris. She said, quote, "In our nation, there has been an alarming increase in anti-Semitic incidents. Our administration introduced the first ever national strategy to combat anti-Semitism. We will continue the fight against hatred in every form," unquote. You can find the tweet on my Medium transcript under Show and Prove. Notice, they never fight against anti-Black racism. There's no anti-Black hate crime bill, but there is a anti-Asian hate crime bill. We have to continue to demand the Biden administration to give Black Americans a anti-black hate crime bill, just like they did for the Asian community. That bill will help protect black people on a federal level. Descendants of American slaves have a well-documented history why black Americans need to be protected. Notice the double standards, how all these other groups are being protected, such as illegal Latino immigrants. They have their own sanctuary cities. Technically, there should not be any sanctuary cities because that encourages some people to break the law. I came across another tweet by the Biden administration which said, quote, across our nation, we are seeing attacks on LGBTQI plus communities. We will not let this stand, unquote. Can anyone explain to me the reason why black Americans continued voting for Democrats? We get nothing out of our collective vote. The issue for me is they're targeting black children, making them confused. Adults can choose an alternative lifestyle. Children need to focus on getting an education. I recall back in 2014 when the Obama administration was promoting gay marriage. I warned my group members and my listeners they were opening the Pandora's box. It went from gay marriage to transgender bathrooms. All of the issues and problems that we have in America, the Democrats are prioritizing LGBT issues. The Biden-Harris administration announced new action to protect LGBTQ communities. 1. Protect LGBTQ plus from attacks on their rights and safety. 2. Support LGBTQ plus kids so they can thrive. 3. Shield LGBTQ plus Americans from book bans that threaten their rights. During Black History Month, the Biden-Harris administration did not announce any protection for black people about our rights and safety. They have not create a council to combat anti-black racism. For example, A.G.K. Owens was a victim of racial violence in America. The Democrat Party is not interested in protecting black Americans because they would disrupt white supremacy status quo. Yet 90% of black voters vote for Democrats. We need qualified immunity off the books so that we can hold rogue cops accountable for their action. Every other group is getting federal protection off of the black vote. The only thing that the Democrats do for black people is to make sure black people can vote. Truth be told, we're just sitting ducks in America. The Biden administration never said they're going to protect black children so that they can thrive. Black children who reside in the inner cities grow up in a toxic environment because of urban violence and the school to prison pipeline so that they can become slaves in America due to the 13th Amendment. This is why both political parties don't want to give us our reparation because then our children would thrive. How can our inner city youth thrive when Pookie and Ray Ray is shooting up the neighborhood? Ron DeSantis is banning books about black history. We did not hear the Biden-Harris administration say they're going to shield the African American community from book bans. What we have experienced in the United States of America from enslavement, Jim Crow, and institutionalized racism is the history of America. The white supremacist financial elites want to erase slavery from the history books so that they don't have to pay reparations. But it's too late. We live in the information age. The LGBT community, the Jewish community, the Asian community, the Latino / illegal Latino immigrant community, all of these other groups benefit off the black vote, and we get nothing out of it. These career politicians tell black people that our ancestors died so that we can vote. Not true. Our ancestors fought and died so that they could be free. They did not fight and die for other groups because no other group was enslaved. I am trying to reach the sick and tired people in our community. We got to get off this pseudo-America. What has America done to right the wrongs of enslaving our ancestors? America has experimented on us. America has mass incarcerated our black youth. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our second topic, Mayor Eric Adams, Democrat Mayor Eric Adams spent $1.2 billion of New York City taxpayers' money on asylum seekers, while 56% of New York City homeless populations are black Americans. These people did not pay taxes. They didn't vote yet. They are being given a big handout. $1.2 billion for 46,000 people, while 56% of New York City homeless populations are black Americans. That is a problem. Notice, these career politicians are not prioritizing helping American citizens. Instead, they are focusing on helping foreigners, non-citizens who don't belong on the soil. The Democrat plan is insidious. They have access to all this money, but when we start talking about reparations, then all of a sudden they claim they don't have money for that. I want to hear from white Americans. Where's your complaints about this $1.2 billion being given out to non-citizens? How is black people doing better under Democrats when 56% of New York City's homeless populations are black Americans? The Democrats are shipping foreigners into black neighborhoods because urban gentrification has not moved black people out of the cities fast enough. These corporations want illegal Latino immigrants here for cheaper labor. The Democrats are practicing benign and neglect based on the Moynihan Report. To learn more about the Moynihan Report, just go to my Medium transcript and scroll down to Show and Prove. Black voters voted for this guy who created the 1994 crime bill, which gave rise to mass incarceration of black people. But they are against Trump, and all he said was, offensive things, but he hasn't harmed people through policies. You see what I'm saying? In contrast, black voters in Chicago are getting exactly what they voted for, another blackface with the same policies. Democrat Mayor Brandon Johnson made a lot of black voters mad when he first got into office. He allocated $51 million taxpayer dollars to illegal Latino immigrants. He said it was a humanitarian crisis. He said they got to do something about it. A lot of black Americans was objecting the mayor dumping foreigners into the black neighborhood. Former Mayor Ron Emmanuel closed 50 public schools across Chicago. Local residents wanted them to turn those schools into community centers. Those in power said no, but all of a sudden, they're opening up these schools to house illegal Latino immigrants. They're being rewarded for breaking the law by not going through the proper channels legally. Now, the mayor is seeking an additional $25 million for asylum seekers. They have access to shelters, medical care, and food, while 76% of the homeless population in Chicago is Black Americans. The United States of America never wanted to pay the proper money for labor because, remember, this country had 246 years of chattel slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, convict leasing through the 13th Amendment, which said slavery is legal in prison. I believe if a person is working in prison, then they should obtain minimum wage and it should be placed on the books. During the 1980s, the white supremacist financial elites created NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, and exported all of the manufacturing jobs to Mexico, Canada, and China. The Chinese ended up copying everything they made and started putting their brand on it and sold it cheaper. The greed from the white supremacist financial elites destroyed this country inside. China invested into their military. Now they're considered a superpower. American citizens are living on the streets in Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. If you disagree with reparations at this point, then you are a straight-up racist because you have not said anything when it comes to illegal Latino immigrants getting a free ride. They don't have no loyalty to this country. They are coming after everything has been built. The Biden administration turned away Black Haitians, but allowed these other groups to cross the border. This is a clear case of racial discrimination within the Democrat Party. How much more disrespect do these politicians have to do before you wake up? Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. And again, right now all I can do is news commentary until I'm able to raise the funds for this film project. So I'm asking everyone that's on my friends list, everyone that's in my social groups, please purchase my revised book, get the ebook, and help get that book on that bestsellers list so that way people can take our cause serious. Then make arrangements with me, like I was saying, by sending me a message to my Facebook inbox about coming on the show if you agree with the vision that I wrote about in the book. If you disagree, then I want you to delete me off your friends list and do not come to no events with my name on it. And that's real. Because this is not about me. This is about the future of our children. They have to sit up here and go through the same nonsense that I went through as a child. God has given me a positive vision to do something positive for Black people here in America. And what's happening? 31 years and I'm still on first base. That's not cool. This is why I created this platform. I refuse to be ignored. And all of those that rejected me for the past 31 years, when I have our mandatory orientation here in Chicago, once we get this film project fully funded and made and the proceeds start pouring in, if I catch anybody that, that I used to reach out to in person and also online, I'm going to embarrass you. And no, you would not be part of my business. And that's real. And I'll show you better than I can tell you. Over here, we're going to separate ourselves from these off-code Negroes, degenerates, urban terrorists, pedophiles. They're not going to be a part of our business. I say our business because if you're going to be a member of the CAM, this is your business as well. And my pledge to my members is that none of you would never have to go through this foolishness that I went through. I'm turning my struggle and pain into a business. Yes, I am. And I want to make sure that we have our support systems in place and we work with the youth that have good ideas that want to do something positive in the African American community. I'm reaching out to African immigrants. It's not going to be limited to those 10 African nations. It could be other African nations, but for right now, in my lifetime, I would like for it to be, those 10 African nations, because we're going to physically go over there and connect with our brothers and sisters. But this is how it's going to go. It's going to be from people from my African group, Ghettos of Africa. So, Ghettos of Africa, you guys going to have to step up, because I haven't met you all in person. And a lot of you are not coming on my show, so that's not cool. So once this organization becomes a success and all that stuff, I'm not going to want to be bothered with you. So don't act like Black Americans here acting funny style. Work with me right now while I'm still quote unquote small, so that way all of us can come up. Because this is why I call it grassroots. I'm reaching out to those of us that understand the struggle. I'm not running for public office. And again, I want to make sure that nobody have to endure this type of foolishness. I know, a lot of people say, well, that's how things are, Emmanuel. People like for stuff to be already established, to be concrete, and then that's when they want to come around. Well, again, the book, that's concrete. That's not a scam. It's on Amazon. And those who think that this is a scam, if you feel that way, delete me off your friends list. It's just that simple. But don't try to come around once we got this organization up and running. This is why I want people to sign with me. You're going to sign a community pledge. You're going to have to pass our criminal background check, and you're going to have to submit your thumbprint, because we're going to have a database to keep track on who's doing what. Because if you try to rip me off, I'm going to put you on blast. And we'll come after you legally. We'll take you to federal court, and we'll try to sue the pants off of you. And if you don't have money, then we're going to push that you do some jail time. Because I'm not playing games. I come before you all with clean hands. Ain't no scam. This is real. When this organization blow up and stuff like that, it's not going to my head. I'm going to be humble. 31 years, I've been pushing it. Ain't nothing changing over here. Message is the same. Trying to do something positive for our Black people. Because listen up, Black America. You have two choices. Either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. I predict by the year 2050, if Black America does not receive or embrace my vision and plan, then as a collective, Black America will become a permanent underclass in the United States of America. I don't want that to happen, but again, people got free will. This is why I'm trying my best to reach out to our global African family. African immigrants that's already here in the United States. To work with me in terms of first, helping getting that book on that bestsellers list, and secondly, donating what you can to, get this film project fully funded and made, so that way I can move from behind a computer and be in a better position so I can hire people to help me run this thing and get this thing popping here in the city of Chicago. I don't like seeing this foolishness that we're going through as a racial group, because, again, this is spiritual warfare at its best. And again, I do want people to understand, non-black sympathizers are welcome to join us. You know what I'm saying? But not as a group, but as individuals. And everybody's going to be screened. Everybody's getting checked at that front door. And yes, if we have some con artists that slip through the cracks, their time will be limited with us. Because I have a zero tolerance for foolishness. And again, if anyone tries to change our, I would say, our focus again is on solving black issues, point blank. That's just how it is. If you want to come in here trying to bring other types of agendas and stuff like that, you're going to get 2 warnings. That third time, that person or person will be placed on our Judas list with their name, photo ID, and address, and they will be barred for life. This is how I get down. I ain't on here playing. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude the show for today. Thank you all for listening. Again, I'm just doing the best that I can, and I know the Holy Ghost, if he wanted to, he could bless me today with having the funds for this film project. But again, that's on him. It's in God's timing. It doesn't matter how bad I want to get this thing popping. It's up to the Lord. And God put you all on my friends list. So I'm asking the Lord to stir people up to I'm challenging people that's on my friends list. If you keep saying that this organization is not going to go anywhere, well, if you feel like that, then get off my friends list, delete me. You know what I'm saying? But those of you, this organization, let's say musicians, I would say undiscovered artists, we want you to be, we want to use your music in our films, in our black empowerment films. Those of you that know how to do hair, we want to hire you to teach our students how to cosmetology, so that way black people can take back the black hair industry. That doesn't belong to the Koreans. That belongs to black people. And most of all, we have to practice group economics. So purchasing my revised book, that's practicing. That's not just practicing, that's putting group economics in action. That's all. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for unborn children that's going to be here, that's coming down the pipeline. Once we get this thing popping here in the city of Chicago, for the next 100 years, we're going to focus on what I've written in that revised book. And that's real. And because of all the disrespect that I had to go through here in America, I'm turning the business over to qualified black middle class professionals, and I'm taking my talents to South Africa because that's where we're going to shoot our second film. And I want to prove to Africans that I'm not trying to hide behind no computer. I'm trying to make this thing happen. But I got to get it started where I'm at here. I'm in the United States, so charity begins at home. Even though I was born here, this is not my country. God gave the African continent to melanated people, and that belongs to us. That's our birthright, and that's what I'm claiming, starting in South Africa. And we're going to expand to, I'm going to say, 9 other African nations, and maybe the whole 54 African nations, maybe. But definitely the Sahara Africa. Make our presence known in those places. But starting with the 10 for now. All right, with that being said, peace and blessings.